John Jay was born on December 12, 1745 in New York, to Peter and Mary Van Jay as one of their 10 children. John spent most of his childhood in Rye, New York. He was educated by his mother until he was around 8 years old, and then attended New Rochelle to study under an Anglican priest. He then returned back to his mother to be educated after 3 years. He joined King's College in 1760 and met many people during this period who would greatly influence his thinking. He entered King's College at 15 years old, and he graduated in 1764 with the highest honors. Later, he married Sarah Livingston in 1744. Jay represented New York in 1744 at the Continental Congress. In 1776, Jay went back to New York. After working as the state's Chief Justice and helping to write the state constitution, he returned to the Continental Congress in 1778. Jay became president of the Congress soon after returning. In 1789, George Washington appointed Jay as the Supreme Court's first Chief Justice, a role he held until 1795. Jay took a break from judicial duties in 1794 when he went to Great Britain in order to address continuous issues such as exports, seizures, and occupation. The treaty that Jay negotiated resolved many of the outstanding issues of the Anglo-American relations. He resigned his seat on the Supreme Court to take office. Jay refused a reappointment to the Supreme Court in 1800, citing his poor health and a reluctance to resume life on the judicial writing circuit. In 1801, Jay stepped away from public life to retire to his farm in Bedford, New York. He died at his farm on May 17, 1829, at the age of 83. John Jay's legacy lives on through his college in New York. Having served his country for years as a judge, constitutional advocate, and diplomat, and in elected office, Jay merits a place of honor among the founding fathers of the United States.
Roe v. Wade is the landmark Supreme Court case that originated when single Texan woman, Jay and Roe, was seeking to terminate her pregnancy safely and legally. However, Texas law stated that abortion was illegal unless the woman's life was at stake. Jay and Roe saw this law as a violation of her constitutional rights as a U.S. citizen and filed a lawsuit. Arguments against the Texas law stated that it was denying women of their marriage, contraception, and childbearing privacy rights that should be covered in the Constitution's 1st, 4th, 9th, and 14th Amendments, which protect citizens' zone of privacy. Roe's advocate was lawyer Sarah R. Weddington. Henry Wade was the lawyer defending Texas law, and his advocates included J. Floyd and Robert C. Flowers. The argument was first heard on December 13, 1971, and again on October 11, 1972. Finally, on January 22, 1973, the Texas law was overturned and declared unconstitutional for Jay and Roe and eventually women all over the U.S. The year 1973 was a huge time for women's rights movements, especially abortion rights. Throughout the case, there were numerous protests all across the United States supporting these rights. Likewise, there were also many anti-abortion ads and protests. Roe v. Wade, resulting in the Texan law being declared unconstitutional, was a major victory for many women all over the country. This case became known nationwide as the case that legalized abortion for women everywhere.